Hello and welcome to Talking with the Center of the Universe. Today I have with me Ion Dorobanți.
Ion din Dorobanți.
Dorobanți, how do you pronounce that?
Ion Dumitrescu, okay, and the Ion din Dorobanți. So Ion din Dorobanți is the pseudonym, the alter ego.
Ion din Dorobanți.
Dorobanți.
Yeah, it's hard for me to say.
I understand.
Yeah,
no worries.
Just made it in time with a delayed plane and everything. We had like 1 minute before going live. So I'm super happy to have you here.
I'm also very excited.
I never met you before, and but I've been a fan of your music and your label for like maybe 10 years, maybe more.
I'm happy to hear that. Yeah, nice.
You know you have fans in Norway?
I do, no, not so aware, but I do know that we have some fans, like also in Hamburg, also in Norway a bit. But I always want to hear more about this. More about our fans.
It's like I think I was picking up the first like Fisher Nuggets, the Sounds of Romania. When did that come out?
The first 2012.
Yeah, that could be right. It's like around 10 years, maybe 12 or something.
Yeah, like, 2012. The first one, the red one.
Yeah, I was hearing this and was like thinking like, this is something really fresh and nice, and was DJing the tracks a lot. But when did you start the label?
So we started the label. The beginning was I moved. So maybe it's a classic story that I had a band. And we were looking for a rehearsing space, and we found the rehearsing space, and little by little the band kind of evaporated, and it became my studio. And I had a computer, and I was also DJing, I was also interested in producing, but not being a producer, and then so little by little I was interested in electronics, and so the band was not so interested in electronics, and so somehow I ended up with this studio and started to play by myself. And together with a friend, Camille Dumitrescu, we shared a lot of music, and we were also DJing sometimes together. We thought, let's make. Always there was also always this in Romania, that there are no labels or no really infrastructure venues for kind of alternative expressions of music, or you always had to go to such a label in the West or somewhere, So everything in Romania was obscure. So we were kind of, maybe Khadija, Khadija, this duo. Yeah, Khadija. They were very close friends, and we all started from the same Bucharest pool. Not really finding, as I was saying, labels, venues necessarily to support this kind of music, and little by little, I was, interested into approaching this conceptually, and let's intensify the obscurity. Let's invent a scene. Yeah. So Sounds of the Unheard from Romania, as you remember, probably, there are a lot of names.
Yeah.
It's like someone is discovering, oh my God, what's going on in Romania? All these bands.
That was exactly what was happening to me. When I found it out. So there is an electronic scene in Romania.
Let's invent a scene. So we started from this, and we just made a kind of 100 CDs that we, gave at a concert, or we made an event to a local club. And this is how it started, with this kind of names, different configurations, mostly recorded at my studio, mostly, let's say, produced by me, but always in different configurations and different collaborations. So this is how Steaua de Mare, there was another group with whom I was improvising, and we were playing a lot. There was this guy, the violin player, and he came to the studio, and I had the track, and he played. And I said, okay, let's call this Steaua de Mare. And then with the whole group, we did a band. So that became a band, a very specific band, and we released 1 year later something. But most of the projects were me or Camille.
Yeah, Camille's whole name is Camille.
Camille Dumitrescu. It's same like me, but no relation.
Yeah.
And that was in the beginning, but also Horatiu, Plevna, for example, he
Yeah.
was from the beginning with us. I mean, we were already starting, and in time, me with Horatiu, we kind of developed several projects.
Yeah, so how
or
many
names,
names, how many in the track list, how many projects you were involved with?
Actually, there were like, I don't know, a lot. I mean, there were a lot of names, fictitious. But it was very fun to invent. At some point, I was thinking, let's imagine that's like we found a stick on a street, and it was this music. I called it Mănăstirea Comana, which is like, I'm inventing all these kind of scenarios or scripts behind the name.
Yeah.
So we were going into. I mean, I was very going far with this, but so there was a lot. I know Mănăstirea Comana, Inginerul Coman. The common engineer, the engineer common. A lot of Romanian, some Departamentul Zero.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff there, which appear only on these compilations. Actually, they don't have any other.
Yeah, you can't find any social media or anything for this.
These identities.
I never actually. This thought never struck me. I thought it was like a huge scene when I saw this first album and also the second album, and I was like, this is. So a lot of stuff going on there.
It worked.
It worked really well. I think you fooled a lot of people also. But it's also a self-fulfilling prophecy. Like, did you?
Yeah, I mean, somehow and being, taking all the advantages of being obscure. You can really play I'm treating the studio as a lab, and I've been always treating the studio as a lab.
Yeah.
Not knowing what kind of genre or where, just playing around with stuff.
Yeah.
Taking in, absorbing a lot of stuff from prog rock, from, I don't know, but then little by little also the Oriental and the local Oriental, as I would call it, Manele.
The local Oriental. You call it Manele.
Manele, but I call it also the local Oriental. Is like through the Roma Lăutari.
Yeah.
So
I'm going to ask about that later. Like but you have a main moniker or main project.
No, not necessarily. I mean, nowadays I don't use Ion D Dorobanți anymore, for example.
No,
I mean, that was just a project because it's. The idea also with Raze de Soare.
Yeah.
It was just this giving an homage, reworking some of the stuff of the Manele and playing with that, but like an homage, like a very specific, project in time. I was from the start going on many directions. I didn't want to stuck with one identity.
No.
So, and especially Ion D Dorobanți, it's also for me, even though I have, it's at the limit, the name, this is like how in the lăutărie, in the Manele music world, they would call themselves. So you are, Dorobanți is the place, the neighborhood. Ion is my name, so Ion from that neighborhood, from Dorobanți. So this is how they work, as we have Leo din Sălăjan.
That's what it
so
means.
This is how, and so this is Ion din Dorobanți, Ion from Dorobanți. And Dorobanți is a north part of Bucharest, which is very very more expensive, not really representative for the Manele, which is very like everybody, wide, and I know.
It's like
there's a bit political problems. So it was just a project, and you could at some point, but because it was free, I just made those tracks. It was just 4 tracks, and maybe with Renat, I did another 2 tracks. But those 4 tracks that I put on SoundCloud, free, just wrote there was like takes on Alex, on different other musicians.
It's like almost like a Gangnam style, the posh neighborhood.
I didn't know. I didn't know this.
It's Gangnam is the posh neighborhood in somewhere in South Korea. So that's what that track is about. It's like so it's Jon from the posh area of Bucharest.
Which is and it could.
Excellent.
If I would have insisted and continued, maybe it would become also political problematic. talking about the cultural appropriation. I'm not so worried. I'm not into this. I mean, I'm not so worried about this. But I think if I would have, insisted with this Ion D in Dorobanți because it's had success.
Yeah.
So no, for me that was a project, and I want to continue with like other pop, and I mean the Oriental part is for all of us. Part of us. It's already have synthesized the Oriental. So I'm not doing specific like Manele oriented or proto Manele or.
Maybe you should at this point tell the people watching this stream, since we're in Oslo, Norway now, they probably don't know what Manele is even.
Yeah, Manele. So it's like contemporary wedding music from Romania. For example, in Bulgaria you have Cucec. Cucec is the name of contemporary wedding music. It's electrified, so it's like the transformation from old school lăutărie. Lăutărie was wedding music and
with orchestras and
acoustic. Exactly, sambal, acoustic.
Yeah.
And there was this in Romania, Dan Armeanca, which is the main. I wrote this text. He brought this revolution inside the wedding and the Roma lăutărie.
Dan Armeanca was the first, because I will also post in the comments maybe here the article that you wrote about this lotteria and the Manele music, and there's also a great playlist of some of this old music that I was checking out like when I was waiting for you coming, like a lot of 80s and 90s synthesized Manele and
cool.
it's a really great playlist that people should check out.
Yes, the ones that I've put
in the beneath the article.
Exactly.
Maybe it's time for a musical example now. It's really interesting. It's just the talk is just flowing, but maybe it's time for the Balkanism.
Balkanism. Yeah, okay.
Balkanism. Maybe it's a time for that. It's like
okay, let's play that one. Okay. So yeah, we were talking that this track, it's an homage to the Bulgarian time signature 9/8, which actually, as we were talking, also in Bulgaria, it's 9/8. We would call it, but it's like 4/5. So it's also kind of a very particular kind of groove. So if it's like this 9/8 classical. So you need to understand the groove, which is like kind of 4/5, 4 with a stretched.
It's 2-2-2-3.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but not really.
No.
It's more 4
5,
with the
yeah.
4, not 4 like 4 comma 5. It's like 4
yeah.
with the stretched a bit
Yeah.
until the
Yeah.
so it becomes like a 9/8. If
Does
you
it
put
have a particular name, this rhythm?
Yeah, they call it. This is the Küçük.
This is a Küçük.
This is the famous Küçük rhythm is 9/8.
Yeah.
They also do the 4/4 or straight, but this is the particular Bulgarian.
That's the Küçük.
And so I wanted to dance on this. So the track is mine also. It's produced by me, but also that was the part. I wanted to like the homage to include this body. I call grooving as transgression. So for me, grooving and like this is how the project. Talking about the next question.
Yeah. You can.
I have a little bit of a question.
Yeah, sure.
And my question is, like you're talking about it being in 9/8, but of course also the video is in. It's in 9/16. It's in 9/16.
9/16.
Did you think about that?
Yes.
So,
yes.
what was the reason for this? Is it like going for a cell phone vibe, or what's the thought about this?
All of them, but also because it was, as we were about to talk. I was thinking of it in an exhibition, show it as a video dance in a way, as an exhibit in a gallery, and I like this format more and more. But it's not only the cell phone, but because maybe it shows me as it's kind of a verticality, which is closer to the way you see the body dancing.
Exactly.
So it gives
it's more about the subject and not just about the whole landscape.
Exactly. So it's like the dance, the body, the groove. I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, cool.
I think, yeah.
Nice.
So when you showed it at the exhibition, you had a screen that was like this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's projected like this, yeah.
So we already almost we spoiled the next question, because your works have been featured in galleries, and is the video part of your artistic practice, or do you collaborate with visual artists, or both?
Yeah, I do in a way, but as I was saying, I come from performance, and so my crew and my projects, like the post-spectacle project, with which I was here in Oslo like 10 years ago. It was so political, in a way, political performance, but from dance and from the performance art field, I went to the visual art, let's say, sphere, but not so. So I was always an intruder, and in a way, this is the first time I do a video dance. Actually, I did like a performance, not the first video, but was dancing in a video and collaborating with Kote. This is his name, the guy with whom I collaborate for this particular video.
That made the background thing.
Yes, and generated the stuff, and so it was a first time.
Yeah.
But it's not the first time in a gallery. So like coming from dance, ballet even, so my whole trajectory, like from ballet, dance, performance, contemporary dance, and then more kind of radical performance, political engaged. So moving from that dance field to the visual art scene, which is like very post-medium, very without specificity in terms of medium. So I kind of sort of navigate between all these worlds.
Go between the different aesthetic boundaries.
And I'm not like the kind of steady working for galleries and visual art contexts.
No.
From time to time when...
It's hard to see, it's hard to say because it's like, but you seem to be like a musician or producer that is like moving easily around and like.
Maybe it was from the beginning this thing that the conceptual approach of building identities, of using so many identities, also as a musician, but also as an artist, writing, performing, I'm going to visual arts, and kind of becoming maybe defining for me. So it's obvious that navigating between many worlds.
Yeah. It's not too obvious to me, but I can see it now. It's like, maybe we should. There's a question that we always ask people. We ask all our guests at this talking,
Please do.
and which is a jingle in Norwegian, and sometimes it makes sense, and sometimes it doesn't make sense. It's for you as a label dude. It's like. Makes sense in another way as an artist, and the question is, so you don't have to wonder what is coming on the screen.
Yes.
Is how is the next album or project coming along?
And here comes the jingle.
We have some background music even.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice, actually. There are
What is the
sometimes,
next album?
it's like in the next albums.
Yeah, there's more.
Several, musical, outputs or projects that are already finished, in process, in progress, and they're all coming fine. And so, for example, I have this project with the Horatiu, this one, Goldfish, as it's on the back.
Yeah.
So this is like a band.
It's you and Plevna.
Yeah.
Horatiu is Plevna, right? Yeah.
So it's like it's a very prog rock soundtrack-ish approach, like this kind of imaginary soundtracks, Romanian soundtracks from the 70s. Nice. We have like the album is kind of ready. We're just looking for somewhere to release it.
Yeah, you're not releasing it yourself this time. No.
Yeah, we're looking also for other.
Yeah.
We've been releasing some.
Yeah,
I like to
work doing a label. I know about these things.
Yeah, I exactly. That's also something that cannot do. I kind of didn't evolve as a label as many other labels would have. Because I'm doing so many projects, and to have the publishing and whatever. And,
it's nice spreading out like the output also of if you have different projects.
I need help.
With different labels, you get different audiences, and people say that the labels have outdone their role now in the post-internet world, but I'm not so sure about that, because the different labels have different following. If you get the right audience for your music, could be good.
And I mean, depends what you understand by label. The small label is actually a crew. Maybe it's a crew of people sharing this kind of different, same approach, or it depends where is the label.
Yeah.
Because I always see this like outer national territory or international territory. So in Romania, it's outer national territory. So it's a label.
What does that mean?
I wrote a text at some point about this distinction. And like international scene, what we call international, is a very developed. Many labels, venues, infrastructure. It works with things are cataloged and.
Yeah.
And where you go, for example, in the international sphere, you have wedding musicians, wedding music. An album is just a wedding recorded on YouTube. That's an album.
Yeah.
So it doesn't work. It's like a totally different dynamic way. So international, maybe Well,
I think I've read that.
Yeah, I should send you this.
You can post it on the YouTube comments. It's
exactly.
It's just
I'm gonna post
that's how we do it in this show.
International condition. This is the name.
I would like to read that. Because I actually read something about it. I think there is a book from this Bulgarian German called Stefan Goldman.
Okay.
He's written a lot about Bulgarian music and about like the Bulgarian music industry.
Okay.
Which is working like super different to the like Western music industry, because they have like they're like bookers and making videos, and it's like almost a mafia. You have to be inside to get the.
Yeah.
You is this about that?
It's also about that, yeah.
Yeah.
Many different ways of organizing, of producing an industry than the Western. So sometimes it's not only based on copyright. And you go further in Egypt, in Syria, like Omar Suleiman, or like at some point they became famous also in the West. But the way they function in the Syrian industry has nothing to do with whatever we call, albums, copyrights. In an example, in Egypt, in Cairo, in the Chabi, electro-Chabi industry.
How does that work?
Like for example, it's the opposite of copyright. It's like if I play your song, I'm giving you respect. So it's not a problem that I'm stealing your song. So that I have to pay you. It's more like I wonder if I should play your song because I give you too much respect to you.
Yeah, but as a DJ or as a you think
so
about
it's like
DJing
wait. So the guys think, oh, he's playing my track. Yeah. He's So it's not like I'm gonna go, hey, copyright money, give me the money.
But that's also
so it's like the opposite of. So that's an international condition.
It's also how things work in DJing. Like internationally also, it's like you play someone else's track or remixes. Like if I would be like also.
But
always
these are
super
artists
happy.
like singers and playing in festivals or whatever,
So you are talking about now cover versions or like using a backtrack?
No, cover. Cover, yeah. Cover, you're not worried about. I have to ask him to give me the rights. Or no. I'm playing. I'm just wondering if he deserves. To play.
I think it's also working a bit like that here. Because it's, at least in Norway, because in Norway there is some copyright laws that enables artists to do covers. That you can release a cover. You can release a cover, and in the United States it's not like this. Then you have to have lawyers and stuff. But I think if you're based in Norway, you can do a cover of whoever you like. And you can release it, stream it.
Without asking for
but you have to put the right composer. So you don't take
you have to write the, you don't own it.
But you're not allowed to change it, the text.
Okay.
So that's like
nice,
a little twist to it. But many people are confused about this thing. But I'm really curious about this article and about how this works.
Yeah, I will.
Because it's super different to, someone will say it's what do you call it, plagiarism?
Yeah, plagiarism.
Plagiarism, or to steal someone's.
But that's just the only one aspect. I mean, in the text I come, let's say, starting from the 60s and 70s, a bit how this is like. Yeah, but let's Shall
we move on?
Shall we move on?
It's maybe I'm losing a little track of the jingles. Maybe
should we
which
hear
of this?
Something?
Yeah,
we can hear some Xenofolk or Australopithecus.
Yeah, the Xenofolk teaser. You can play the Xenofolk teaser, and you can talk. You can talk a little bit about that because I don't know what that is actually.
Yeah. It's another.
I'm getting confused at this point.
Yeah. Do you want to say something about it? Should we just play
the track?
No, play the track.
Okay. Here we go.
Yeah, what did we hear?
Xenofolk. So Xenofolk is Fraga, Suce Fraga, is just her project separately with me. So
That's also you.
with me, yeah, Suce Fraga with me, our collaboration. So that's why this was just like an intro for the second album, like a teaser, and it's not, let's say, so representative for our, because usually it's with her voice. Her voice is very constant present.
Yeah, with a lot of auto-tune and stuff.
But not necessarily, with a lot of stuff.
With a lot of different effects. Yeah, but what is the Xenofolk project?
Xenofolk project is like, we started, with just having fun in the studios, in the lab.
Yeah.
And little by little we started to, like, felt we using some folk stuff, like folk lyrics, or I had this kind of little book, with old traditional folk songs, lyrics, only the lyrics.
Yeah.
And we were just, scrolling, browsing, and using this, and we're using strange trap piece, whatever, and with those lyrics in Romanian, it sounded like this kind of, I don't know, mystified, distorted, electrified, dystopic, from the future, not ending, folk.
Yeah.
So we went, and then we went with folk, with this kind of Xenopolk, so alienation.
Yeah.
So whatever, so folk is not tradition as constant alienation. Tradition as the opposite of, tradition is the opposite of itself.
Yeah.
Let's put it.
Yeah, so you gotta put folk music upside down.
Exactly. Folk music is usually made to feel you comfortable, you recognize, you belong. So this is like, I would put alienation. So suddenly you listen to folk, which is constantly
But the lyrics are traditional.
Sometimes they just have fuck around with anything.
Yeah. But there is one album or two albums.
Already two.
Two albums. Yeah.
2 albums.
Yeah, I think
and they stayed on the studio albums. We only once we played a bit live, but they're. I mean, like both of us, very happy with this.
Suce Fraga is a vocalist.
Suce Fraga, she's amazing producer.
Producer also.
Yeah. Mainly
because I was hearing.
That's why I'm putting. We have an album on the Bandcamp. Her album produced by her, which is amazing.
I think I heard that the first one, and I was like, I was thinking it was like almost like R&B.
Yeah.
Or maybe like Suce Fraga.
Suce Fraga, she has also R&B, but also very different stuff.
Really interesting, but also it has like I think it still has this Romanian twist. To it, and it's like also has the like Future Nuggets sound a little bit.
Yeah, no. When I first heard that, I was like, I thought like if we were in any other industry than the Romanian industry, she would have been top by now.
More famous,
much more famous.
Yeah, maybe.
She should go that way. The way the tracks that she did, the cleverness of her lyrics, the poetry of her lyrics, it's another level. There's nothing really nice in Romania like her, actually.
You should go to an international label, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. I would try, but the international condition still burden us, lingers.
But we must put stuff in the comments, because we haven't. You sent me so much music. I was listening through all of it several times.
I did my work,
and I was getting more and more confused. Who are all these people?
I know. It's true. I'm sorry, but
no, it's nothing to be sorry about.
Exactly. It's not necessary. This is the job. This is the work.
This is the work, and no, I was interested in hearing, but I think we have to do with some Bandcamp link or something, because I couldn't like fit everything in the
Bandcamp.
Or you have to put the links actually after we have finished.
I'll definitely put on the comments.
But in this article that you talked about, you wrote this article that's called. Balkanism? Is it called Balkanism?
Balkanism was the name of the work, for the exhibition, which comprised 3 elements: the text, which is from Dimitrie Cantemir to Dan Armeanca. This is the name of the title of the text. the video dance, and a DJ set. So there were different inside of the
But
box.
this article that about the lottery,
Yeah.
and this how you maybe already answered this, but how do your music that you do now relate to that like old lottery tradition? How do you feel yourself in relation to this?
So lautarie, I mean, because people don't lautarie, so lautari are Roma musicians playing, at weddings and other family events. So lautari, maybe, just to try to people understand. And then lautarie is the music in general.
Yeah.
That was like the way of, so lautari and lautarie. For me, what was my interest is that in Romania, this revolution, the old lotărie changed with the new lotărie, neo-lotărie, with Dan Armenca. And a lot of Romanians, intellectuals, academia, felt like, no, what is this? What is the new? We like only the old, only the acoustic, the Roma, static, frozen in time musician. So nobody, this kind of a society level, the Manele, the new lotărie, was not accepted. Not only was not accepted, was
perceived. When was this in time?
90s. From the 90s. Yeah. From the 1990.
No, it's not 80s.
No, in the 80s, no, because before the revolution, it was very clear.
So you have like
the revolution already started in the 80s, but it was very much under the radar. Because with Ceausescu, totalitarian times, there was only in the Roma communities. But really, it started to be,
So you have like an exact year when the music changed? And that was the same year as the revolution?
In a way, yeah. From 89, 90, it started. So and then 90s, it became obvious that there's something new going. And Dan Armenca was taking and suddenly impregnating the music of weddings with Turkish, with Syrian, with Iraqi music. Taking cues and repertoire. So it's like, where is even the old lotărie was connected to the Turkish. Manea means, in the 19th century, is like old Turkish song. This is what Manea.
Yeah.
It was played by Romanians, by Roma Lotar mostly, in the Bayrams, so how do they call it? Because Romania was a colony of the Ottoman Empire, maybe.
Yeah.
So for many years.
It sounds really Turkish, but I was always been a little shocked almost about this when I hear like Balkan music in general, but also like Romanian music, which is like some of this more like orchestral music. It sounds like more like Western in a way, or maybe like I would even maybe relate it to like this the music of the Austria, Germany, or Alps, Switzerland, even maybe like this sitters and stringed instruments, and then you have all these like Turkish scales and like taksim and the microtones, exactly. and there is something really interesting going on there, and
that's why this is how I relate. I'm still learning from all this, and this lotărie, and after 2000, it's still evolving and still changing. It became very pop, using a lot of, so it mixes now with
like
pop.
Modern music production
oriented.
Pop,
but they also mix it with reggaeton, with stuff. I mean, nowadays you can see they're like big stars on TikTok, and they're doing viral stuff. And
this music is like super. I've heard like when I was in Berlin, I was taking the train from Hamburg to Berlin, and then there was a guy. I even played the clarinet, but then there was a guy right behind me that was like doing a non-stop TikTok Manele thing with clarinets. And I was like, this music must be like huge on TikTok, and he was going on like, and I was getting like annoyed about this guy.
I understand.
Since he was right behind me and was blasting TikTok Manele. At first I was like, this is really cool, and I was like, should I ask about the track he plays? But then it was too much, and then I felt that this music has like really done the transition onto the social medium That's where it lives
Manele,
now.
yeah, many of the Lautari, Manele artists, musicians
But I must
are
ask-
using TikTok. Yeah,
Yeah, they are.
A
I must
lot.
ask more. It's like I must ask about more. I don't know what question I'm starting with. Yeah, because it's to me it's obvious that the music, the Romanian music, the pop music, and the folk music is much closer to each other than it is in Norway, or maybe in
Okay,
the
I don't
UK.
know.
Is it like Romanian pop music that is not having anything to do with the folk music tradition, or is it like interweaved?
It's interwoven, yeah. I mean, it depends. As I was saying, there's a lot of, for me, I'm keeping my distance. A lot of this kind of old school folk hits, immemorial folk hits that are constantly used and have this kind of a nationalistic nuance. You're using I don't know what, there's all kind of bands or that are using this kind of folk, reinforcing a bit of nationalistic, pride and so.
Yeah, so there is a nationalistic touch to some of that.
It's like ethno-white nationalistic.
Yeah.
So there's always, because Roma players, musicians are doing this Manele.
Yeah.
The race, there is a underneath. It's changed over time. I'm not
So
saying, but
it's,
it started from being rejected. Also because it comes from Roma. It was rejected by the main society because it says what is this? No. We like only the old Lothar, the old Roma. That's the good Roma.
Clear.
The new Roma, this is problematic. Technology, he knows technology. No, acoustic, only acoustic. And then, so there's a lot of focus in Romania always on folk, ethno-white folk, with the big stars of the, like these kind of standards used by different bands, even new bands, pop or whatever. So you have those, but it changed over time. I think Manele are much more accepted, and why new generations are more relaxed about all this. So there are tensions, but the society has moved in a good way, I would say. And there's no they are mixed, exactly, and they are mixed without tensions, less tensions.
It's interesting because this is like a totally different story from what we have in Norway. It's like a completely different story because now you are almost staging this as a fight between the old acoustic folk music and the
Accepted
kind of
by the
high culture,
Romania, high culture, exactly.
high culture and like modern music. There's more like Roma and Manele based, like more
Loteria, yeah. With electronic synth bass.
synth bass, everything.
Yeah.
It's like so it's like fight between two different types of folk music, which is super interesting.
In a way, because there is, when I say folk music, there is also folk music like this kind of we say folk popular ethno without any Roma, like purified.
Yeah.
Purified.
So that has this nationalistic touch.
Yeah, that's the nationalistic touch.
Yeah.
But also in the old Lotaria there is now, because it's kind of only accepted Lotar.
It's a super different story than what we have in Norway. You might not know, but it's like we've been through this like huge resurge of folk, of traditional folk music now, that people are starting to listen to and like taking back into. There's been like a wave of new folk music, and there they kind of reuse the Norwegian old material, and it doesn't have a nationalistic touch at all. It's like it's something for everyone. And now it's like a resurgence of like new bands, as you'll probably hear tomorrow, and new artists that does interesting things with the old material.
So in a way,
so that it's like
they were not, because they were kind of forgotten. They were kind of put aside. They were not, So
here it was kind of hidden tradition for
exactly.
a
So
while.
they were not out in the open, so or not necessarily in the last So that's a resurgence. That's
It's a resurgence, and then people are like very, and also like my project with my friend Kenneth Lien, that we do electronic versions of old Norwegian traditional music, and so far we haven't been accused of being like nationalistic because it's our folk music is like it relates to folk music from other countries, and it's been like almost on the red list, but now it's like it has come back, and it's like quite strange because it's like maybe 30 years where not too much happened because it was like almost in a museum, and now it has come back, and
exactly. It was like totally nobody would engage.
It was just like some people were like really keeping the tradition alive, but like not too much in Oslo, but in around different parts of the country, and like after the pandemic, I think like people have been like trying to researching the Norwegian roots more, maybe trying to find the old music, and it's a quite special tradition.
It's very different because I mean, for Romania, traditional music is very important. Was always important. This kind of ethno-white from the countryside, and that's why Dan Armanca and this new breed, it has nothing to do with the tradition. It broke all tradition. It was something new. Completely new.
Yeah.
And it was instantly rejected.
Yeah.
Instantly, what is this? No, we want the traditional. We don't want this new stuff. We want the traditional.
But that was because of the instrumentation, or was it because of the Roma?
And Roma,
thing?
both of them, like this.
Yeah.
And because it came with Turkish, really Arabian, while Romania was focused on the West.
Yeah.
We wanted the West, we don't want the East. We want
so it was the East-West thing also.
We want to go the West, we are here Pink Floyd. We want,
That's interesting. Interesting.
Everybody after the 90s was so oriented only on the West that this was like, no Turkish, no, which it was so stupid because it was so rich. And Darmanka was opening up the portals to many,
Yeah, so that's like the sound of the Balkans onto the sound of the East.
Exactly, the new sound of the Balkans, not the traditional. No traditional, but the new.
But are you I want to ask, like, if as a producer, are you feeling comfortable with like reusing traditional songs and traditional material, remixing and stuff? Or
I'm not, like, because I've never used traditional. I've only, because Manele are not traditional.
No.
There's something new. So I'm not, I don't feel this kind of traditional. I feel like I'm asking myself, and I'm aware, that's why, I'm constantly learning and having to learn from this and writing about it.
Yeah.
That is not cultural appropriation, but it's cultural falling in love.
Yeah, or like
so, I'm just falling in love with this, but I want to show all my love and to make that those artists, the Lautar, are, because sometimes the versions that I did with Raze de Soare, Raze de Soare actually is different. It's not even.
But there you use some of this,
and people would relate to this more easily to my kind of take on the Manele than to the original artists themselves, which I found problematic. I'm just showing the love for go and listen to the guys.
Yeah.
It's
very interesting. It's so different from the story we have here. It's like it's like a mind twister. Are there any questions? Is there any questions in the chat?
Well, yeah.
No, not any questions today.
No questions today.
Just shout out to BHLB Beats and someone called Informative.
Yeah, BHLB is nice.
But it's very interesting to hear about this different story with the folk music. Like in Norway, I feel like at some point Norway felt like we didn't want to be like farmers, like old school. We want to be like modern, and we wanted to be like American and all of this at some point. And now this is like flipping a bit, and like. I think with a lot of the folk music in Norway, it was kind of like pushed into like a low status in a way. So there was like connected to a bit like partying, but like out on the farmlands and not in the cities and all this.
No,
and
urban,
now,
rural area.
Exactly, the rural areas. And now it's being brought more in, and now people are more like, okay, maybe we don't want to be American. Now we're like, we can be Norwegian, but it has a different way. It's like I feel like it doesn't have like the nationalistic thing that you're describing. It's more like no, actually we are okay to be ourselves, or we don't have to try to be something. Exactly.
Accepting, complex. I think each country has its own complex, whatever. No, I want to, you know.
Yeah,
and then
exactly.
When you really mature, you work. Yes.
And
this
also,
is
if
part,
you
minority,
if you go
whatever.
back,
this is part of us.
also if you go back and listen to like, if you go, yesterday I had first ever listened to, you know, Smithsonian Folkways, the label. It's an American label that has like, it's a library also. But the label they re-released like, or like recorded, like ethnomusicologists. They went to some country and they have like this folk music of blah blah blah. And for the first time I was like listening to like folk music of Norway from Smithsonian Folkways from 1955 or something.
Wow.
And it's some artists I've heard before. But the music sounds like, some of it sounds like really, it's super special and almost like alien, and super weird, and tonality is very weird, and
Very interesting.
and it's like super interesting music.
And what you're saying, the time signature, maybe also the rhythms.
The rhythms, as
okay,
you,
very interesting.
it's it always, the Norwegian folk music had been blamed for being conservative for a while, since people were like, they were like holding on to this super special way of playing, like hardingfele, which is like a fiddle with the extra strings on it. But it's been like super conservative also. It's not a joke. It's been like people want to keep it exactly as it is, but now it's opened up quite a bit. But it's also interesting, some of these like very, very interesting things that have survived because of the conservatism, because of people who were like clinging on to this very, very special way of playing. But then it was also like, also the tonality. After a while, it was when they had like more like pianos and the instruments that was produced in factories. They were like almost washing away all the microtones and making the folk music into more like a concert music, more than like the raw dance music. But if you go back and listen to like old recordings of Norwegian folk music, then you hear like almost Arabic scales, almost microtones, almost, and these weird rhythms we were talking about 9/8.
Once the conservative, it makes this kind of synthetic version.
Yeah, but it's
on
weird.
The grid. Let's put on, like producer
it's
would
weird
say,
because
on the
the conservative people, there's like different camps. I'm not an expert on this. I've been like digging in it for years, but I'm not an expert on this. There's like different camps, but there's some of this old music is I'm glad that I kind of hold on to the tradition. Also because it's interesting.
It's inspiring,
But there's also some people that are like, well, it's always been like this, and it's always been like well-tempered. But if you go back and listen to some of the old stuff, it's like
not so
it's like you can't really. It's very weird and interesting music. That is nice that you can hear.
I am looking forward to listening.
Yeah.
Shall we?
Shall we maybe have? Are you okay with playing the Plevna?
Plevna.
But you
course,
should say something about Plevna afterwards. This talk has been like, it's like constantly going. Maybe we should have that and Plevna and a little bit about Plevna and
of course
a little bit about tomorrow and super good, Chris.
Yeah. Cool. Plevna.
Okay, we have a comment in the chat that we should acknowledge. We have one here from, oh whoops, let's see, there you are. Oh, we have more coming up. Let's start with Tommy LeBeau. Can you read it again?
Yeah, as a mouth player from the US, I like the song you did with Lee and Hull again, yeah. Yeah, that's really interesting because, yeah, you're a mouth player from the US, that's awesome. Because Kenneth Lean was here earlier today, this morning, and we were doing the finishing touch for the next album we did together. But then you get a little disappointed because there's only one mouth harp track on the next album, but that's a really, really good one. So you won't get disappointed, but we recorded 2 more that will be on some like 12-inch or something. But there's like more fiddle than there is mouth harp. But yeah, excellent. Yeah, there will be more mouth harp. There will be maybe a whole 12-inch of mouth harp at some point, but we only included 1 track on the next album. So sorry to disappoint you, Tommy.
He's excited to check it out though.
Yeah.
And then are you able to read the comment from Vegard here?
It's not Vegard. It's our good friend. It's our good friend.
What does it say then?
Yeah.
It's just
what is his
all-taker name? Just
yeah,
random.
What is his? Yeah, I can read it, but it says not called Vegard. I've been watching the 90s series on traditional music. They talk about the different traditional cleaning up and staging presentation from the. So yeah, I really can't. What kind of folk music are you talking about? Now? I really don't. It's Villads. It's Villads in the comments. What kind of folk? Which country are you talking about now, Villads? I don't get you. Yeah. Maybe you have to specify a bit. Clean up and stage presentation for the.
50 years of soloist.
For the society.
Yeah. I really don't get that. You have to specify. Yeah. Maybe we can go back to that. But John, what did we hear?
So we just heard Plevna.
Yeah.
Plevna, which is a.k.a. Horatiu Șerbanescu. He's the guy behind Plevna.
Yeah.
And this track actually is, I think, on the second installment of Sounds of the Unheard from Romania. It's a beautiful track. Like when I first heard this track, I mean, talking about untraceable music. So the way he used Bulgarian and 80s and synth, and so it's really amazing. And the Plevna project and all his tracks are really amazing. I've been a fan and promoter of them since I first heard them. And with Horatiu is also one of the main collaborators of Future Nuggets, a mainstay, main voice, main pillar.
Yeah.
And we've been doing a lot of projects. He's also part of Australopitecus Oltensis, but he's been undercover like me on all the compilations, Inginerul Coma and others. So yeah, Horatiu.
Yeah, shout out,
like,
huge shout out. I'm a huge fan.
Horatiu,
Are you? Are you?
Sound effects today.
No sound effects today.
No sound effects today.
Yeah, we should have like a horn for Plevna. It's like it's. And I'm getting too.
We were so into the discussion that the sound effects didn't. But
I forgot about about the sound effects. Yeah, but in the next Plevna album, is that coming out on Future Nuggets?
Yes. No, it's not on Future Nuggets, but
when and where will that be released?
It's a new label from Bucharest, which is very amazing.
Nice.
And it's coming, I think, in September, October.
Yeah.
In the autumn.
I heard he sent me the thing, and it's like really interesting.
It's
and
very
it's like
good.
it's like.
And the way he evolved with this, with starting from this kind of Oriental Bulgarian 9/8, but going in many directions, untraceable music.
Yeah, it's untraceable, but I like the way it's like. I think this Plevna style is putting something interesting into synth music.
Absolutely. No,
Because
that's-
synth music is like now very much a YouTube thing. Like everything is sounding like soundtracks, so Blade Runner or Vangelis or like maybe hard techno or
Yeah.
this is what the synth music needs.
I mean, for
in
me,
my
it's the
opinion.
most exactly. Very well put. Very well put. When I say untraceable, it's like it's fresh and it's like the biggest compliment. So where is this? What is this? But you want to hear more. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
And in synth, it's very well observed.
Is Plevna something every synthesizer geek should check out?
Yes,
And
should
also
check out. Yeah, absolutely,
last album
absolutely.
and the new album. Really looking forward to that. Yeah. Is this resonating
Yes.
at all? Vilas, I'm just asking, which country are you talking about? That's the question. Maybe we can answer
Also,
your
Tommy
question.
is excited.
Tommy is excited. That's
And
great.
also enjoyed the last track. Loved
Yeah.
the flute playing. That was bending the notes.
Yeah, it's a synthesizer. Tommy.
Synthesizer,
It's a
exactly.
synthesizer. It sounds like a flute, but that
it's
was
like
that was
flute
Plevna.
sound, right?
That's Plevna magic.
Plevna is really good. Yeah, nice. I like that we have a mouth harp player from the United States in the chat. That's my kind of audience. Also, a shout out to BHLB, which is a Norwegian great producer. It's like the biggest head nodder we have in Norway. Yeah, we have been talking for an hour. I think Jon
so
is getting. We should finish and announce
Tomorrow, right?
tomorrow. Yeah. What's going on tomorrow?
Tomorrow is gonna be
Tuvas Blodklubb.
the
Tuvas Blodklubb is a folk music club in Oslo.
Okay.
And tomorrow, who's playing? Who's DJing?
I'm DJing. Yes,
Yeah, what are you playing then?
They're mostly contemporary wedding music from the Balkans and beyond to the Middle East. So that's
Yeah, that's
beware
going to be.
for some dancing, hardcore dancing on Oriental vibes.
It's going to be perfect for the audience tomorrow. Tomorrow we're like starting up with a quiz and lessons in folk dance, and we have like 4 Norwegian singers that are singing traditional dance music, and 1 Sami that will sing joik. And we have you as a DJ. It's going to be perfect. So see you tomorrow. Thanks to Christopher that's been running the tech and asking good questions.
Yeah, keeping everything in motion.
Yeah, and thanks for coming.
Thank you for having
It's,
me. Thank you for having me. Very nice.
This hour just like flew away, and yeah, and we made it.
Yeah, let's fly tomorrow some more.
Yeah, see you.
See you. Now.